Start with the funny thing, so to discuss. Actually, a couple of days ago, when I had a talk with a student of mine who is currently a member of our pre-CELTA courses, she told me that so what she particularly liked about our classes, besides all the informative aspect of it, were these mood checkers or warm-up activities that I suggest. That's why I decided to follow this tradition, or kind of maintain the tradition, and start the today's session as usual with a mood checker. This time I will ask you the following thing. So, if your mood were a suitcase, what three things would be in it? Write it please in the chat. I will repeat. If your mood were a suitcase, what three things would be in it? Let us check what we will start our today's class with, what we will kick the class off with. Book, food, and friend. Pillow, juice, pizza. Some of you are sleepy. Some of you are willing to talk, as far as I can see. Money, food, and a gun. Maria, so it's one of the best answers I've ever heard. Could you please specify why money, food, and gun?
Just in case.
Just in case. So, did you do that for fun? Or
Yeah,
because I thought that is just the way you feel right now. Yeah. So with an idea to kill someone, and for this you
no,
just need a gun. No, no,
it's just in
luckily.
case. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Sergey, so he's narrowed down these three things just to one and wrote aspirin only. Sorry for asking. Do you have a splitting headache or what?
I have loud repair works in my building for the third week in a row in three apartments at the same time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Then, so just
Yeah, so I could use three tablets of three pills of aspirin. That's the three things. And,
So then, aspirin, 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 and let us repeat
yeah,
it times. Sorry to hear that, but I believe that we will manage to somehow, yeah, set you in high spirits again. Part of Park of Stones, alarm clock, and donut. Katya, specify.
Yeah, I'm just a listener today because my voice is gone, so I will write it. It's
Uh-huh.
because of my practice.
Okay. So Park of Stones, just sorry for asking, and it's just you've already told me that you cannot talk, but a bit. It's just for me to clarify this thing. Why Park of Stones?
Because I need to write my practice, and it's a lot of work for me, and I have only a few days to do all the tasks.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I
I
feel
wish
it
I
like
wish you
I
good
have a
luck.
park of stones in my
Yeah, I
hand.
wish you good luck, and I wish you to succeed, yeah, in everything you do. Then
You.
lipstick, lemon, dumbbells. Елизавета.
Yeah, it's definitely describes my mood. Lemon and dumbbells. It's because I'm trying um, to lose my weight right now, and lipstick is just woman thing, that should be in your suitcase always.
Definitely. So every lady should have it, yeah. So should have it in her bag, so handbag. So there can be no order in your handbag, but there should be definitely the place for the lipstick or some space for the lipstick. And one more person I'd like to kind of comment on. That's Anastasia Terещенko. So I particularly like this third thing in your suitcase. So Asian takeout. You've mentioned pillow, blanket, and Asian takeout. Why
I just
Asian
hope
takeout?
I just hope it won't leak into my suitcase. But I'm just hungry, and the weather is really cloudy, and I just want to eat something nice, and I don't want to get out of the bed at all, though I did it for this lecture. So I just want to, I don't know, have some Asian takeout and watch something stupid to relax.
Sorry, maybe I will mispronounce the word. I'm not that fond of Korean culture, but most of the youth, most of the teenagers, and even adolescents like you, they do appreciate watching these dorami. Yeah, am I right? Dorami movies, kind of like kind of melodramas, Korean melodramas. Am I right? Is it something you are talking about?
Not really. I'm not into Korean like culture in a sense of, for example, listening to bands or watching films. I just like their food, to be honest. I prefer just films and maybe anime, but dramas are not my cup of tea.
Okay, so yeah, tired, hungry, and quite sleepy. That's the conclusion that I can infer from what you've written. Yeah, so in the chat box, believe me, so the situation will improve. Yeah, because so whenever we have our sessions, it seems to me that thanks to your kindness, thanks to like the way you work, your diligence, your like active participation. So it seems to me that by the end of the class, in spite of the fact that you are a bit tired, so you are in much higher spirits than when you just start when we just start the class. Okay, I will share the screen. And start, now we will get to the very core of the thing in a very unusual way. For us to clarify what we'll be talking about today, I'd like you to come up with the word that should be in the center of this pie diagram. So it should match all of these words in order to create the collocations. What is the word missing?
Error.
Error, definitely, because we can make an error, we can do something by trial and error. There can be statistical, human, frequent, or global or local error. So out of these collocations that are mentioned here, I believe that you may be not quite in the know of like what the collocation global or local error stand for. Or are you in the know? Could you please tell me if so? Like, what is a global error and what do we understand by a local error? Have you ever come across these terms or these notions, these phrases? Any ideas? Global error, a local error? No suggestions, no guesses. Actually, a global error, that's the one that impedes understanding of the content. It's like something that like prevents you as a teacher or you as an interlocutor, as a partner of some person in the current conversation to understand something. That's something actually that blocks or impedes the communication and general understanding like of what is said. While a local error is the one that deals more with accuracy. So, and even in spite of the fact that this error is made, the partner in the conversation still understands what you are talking about, just for you to know. So in some scientific articles, you can come across these notions, and that's why for you to be on the safe side and for you to be well aware of what it means, I've decided to clarify these collocations. Now let's have a look at another pie diagram. So here we have one more word missing. Let us think, what's this?
Mistake.
Mistake, right you are. So thank you. So thank you for mentioning. You see that there are some kind of common collocations like we can make a mistake or make an error. Though the rest, so like match just the particular words suggested. Like we can admit a mistake. It can be a common, silly, careless, or terrible mistake. And as usual, we learn either from our own mistakes or from mistakes of, for example, our acquaintances, friends, parents, whatever. So, as far as you understood, today we will talk about errors, mistakes, error correction, and assessment. And currently, I'd like to draw your attention to the following question. Is there any difference between mistakes and errors in an ELT or English language teaching context? So in the context of ELT, not in the general context, but in the context of acquiring the language. Is there any difference between mistakes and errors? Who'll tell me that? Okay, Елизавета?
So maybe I have the simplest idea. It's when you pronounce something without, like with incorrect tense or grammatic sphere, but errors just when you spell something like by mistake wrong, like just letters and sounds.
Okay, so you think that errors is more about we make them in spelling or in pronunciation. So did I get it right? Yep.
Yes, yes, but mistakes, it's like in purpose, so you just don't know the rules.
I would say that it's a bit vice versa because so mistake is more neutral, and actually it means that the learner actually knows the correct answer, but somehow because of some reasons, so he can make this mistake. If we're talking about an error, it's when the student or a learner experiments with the language. So to say, like when do we start experimenting? When we are well aware of how something should be done, or when we lack understanding and knowledge? Like trial and trial and error. We experiment. Perhaps it will be this way, or maybe that way. We are kind of unaware. That's why errors happen when the learners do not yet know how to say something correctly. So to say, they lack knowledge in a particular sphere of life. Yeah, they lack knowledge related to a phrase they will need to use, a sentence they will need to make up. Mistake is more about is more about something that they may already know about. For example, in general, they know the rule, but they don't know the exceptions. And that's here the mistake comes. Can we say that there are some other types of mistakes? So these are errors. The general name for all will be mistakes. Then these are also errors. What are the types of mistakes? Do you know? For example, when because of being tired, you make a mistake and you can correct it. What do we call it? Darina?
I wanted to add that also I remember sleeps when students make mistakes like accidentally, but they know how to correct themselves. Like they said something and then correct themselves.
Yeah, if they can correct a mistake without the guidance of the teacher, yeah, that's what we call a slip. Maria, you have your hand raised.
Maybe also mispronouncing.
Okay, so you are talking more about the categories. I'm asking you about types of mistakes, types. So we already mentioned, so the errors when we lack knowledge. For example, the student of the fifth form makes up a sentence in which, they would like to present passive forms, though the passive is usually dealt with in the eighth form. Do they know? Are they in the know? So how to say it correctly? Of course not. They can just give it kind of like try, but they yet do not know how to say something. What kind of mistake is this? When they do not even know how to say it correctly because the material has not been studied yet.
That attempt?
Attempt, right, you are. Yeah, so thank you. So the students I taught still remember, yeah, this material. So, and that pleases me. Yeah, so because I was the teacher responsible for these modules at the university. So thank you for being so diligent and for remembering it. So once again, we can talk about errors, the mistakes that we make and we cannot correct ourselves just because we need the teacher's assistance. Then this can be also slips of the tongue when we can correct ourselves. But because of being tired, because of focusing too much on the meaning, we forget about the form. And this can be attempts when we do not yet know how to say something since the material has not been studied yet. Yeah, that's what we call an attempt. Thank you. Now, let me show you the following agenda of the day. So today we are going to talk about reasons for making mistakes, categories of mistakes, correction techniques that will be used or applied in oral conversation as well as in writing, feedback in error correction. We will talk also about assessment and its types, and criteria for assessment, because that's the most difficult part of dealing with assessment. So very often teachers take a lot of time. It becomes a time-consuming activity for them to develop and design all these rubrics, all these criteria, think about all the descriptors. So I will show you where to look for. Okay, now in breakouts, you will have to discuss, kind of brainstorm the answers to the following questions. The first one is, should learners' mistakes be corrected? Why or why not? When should learners' mistakes be corrected? Which mistakes should be corrected? And who should do the correcting? I believe that you know a lot. So most of you are undergraduate students or even the novice teachers. So I believe that that's the material that you already worked with at the universities or institutions you studied or still study at. During these 5 minutes, you'll need to come up with the answers to these questions, and on coming back in plenary, we will discuss that. I will elicit the answers from you. So I will make a print screen, then send it to you. Okay, so that all of you could have these questions. Yeah, and now I will stop sharing and we will start working in breakouts. So we are back again. Yeah. So, so we had such a hot discussion that we didn't even manage to deal with the last question. But so it seems to me that we will manage dealing with that now in plenary. Okay, I'd like to elicit that from you, the answer to the first question. Should learners' mistakes be corrected? Why or why not? Are there any volunteers, the brave hearts, who can start talking? Come on, don't be shy. Victoria?
Okay, I may be the first one. And to my mind, the mistakes should be corrected because if the student doesn't notice this one, we should put the emphasis here and to help them avoid doing this mistake because it might be a grammar or vocabulary mistake. And as we are teachers, we are example for them. We have to give it the right one so they could use the language freely, and people, for example, like native speakers, could understand them without any I don't know, probably how to formulate it, without any hesitation,
So you are for correcting everything at once, immediately?
No, not like at once, but I guess we are not talking here about when we should correct it, but whether we should do it or no.
Yeah, whether we should do that or not. So we definitely need to correct the mistakes. Should all the mistakes be corrected? Another question follows.
Is it a question to me or just
To you, but so anyone can assist.
I guess at once it's not always the right way. Generally, as we, for example, are taught, it's better to do after the activity or in the end of the lesson, so not to interrupt the student and for them not to be frustrated, for example, and to focus on the error correction.
So we shouldn't frustrate our students. We should create this rapport, so a positive atmosphere so that all of them could feel relaxed. So today I managed to attend one of the sessions by Rob Howard, who is now the current president of ITEFL Poland. And so, there he said that like why the students, like one of the reasons why our students are sometimes unwilling to speak, it's just because we did not set them in a relaxed atmosphere. Because if they are chilling, if they are kind of feeling relaxed, then that would be no problem for them to mention at least a sentence or two. So even in case if they are unwilling to produce so extended sentences, kind of like a number of them, then at least a few sentences, that's what they will manage. So thanks a lot. Then when should learners' mistakes be corrected? When should learners' mistakes be corrected? Your ideas, please. Людмила.
Okay, first of all, we have to say that mistakes we have to correct after their speech, because when we start interrupting them, they can lose their thought, and they have to restart their speech to recollect all information that they wanted to mention.
So, like you are the second person, so today who mentions that the students shouldn't be interrupted while they are talking, because it's kind of demotivating factor in learning. But what if we are talking about the situation when we are dealing with language systems? For example, we work on or just brush up on or polish the pronunciation of a particular word. Or we deal with some grammar structure and we are at the stage of controlled practice. Should we or shouldn't we interrupt our students so at this particular stage? Inna?
Yeah, I guess we should. Just because if we won't do it, if we don't do it, it may lead to some not correct. Sorry, I forgot the word.
So it will lead to the situation when we will have a fossilized error. That will be repeated all the time. That will become a permanent fixture. I like this phrase, permanent fixture, something fixed that you cannot get rid of. You kind of repeat and repeat and repeat, making the same mistake. Okay, Victoria, anything to be added?
Actually, I agree with Ina, and I like to say that generally teachers here check it, help us to identify these mistakes by using some facial expressions or signs, that we use to put the emphasis that something is wrong here, and we correct it. Only if the student doesn't understand here what's wrong, using our all this performance, then we should correct it orally, and that's it.
Hopefully your teachers do not make a facial expression like this. Because everyone will get scared immediately. So, but very often it happens that the teachers do signal by their facial expression or some gestures where the mistake is. So, and very often it interrupts the students. So unless they are well aware of these signals and they are well practiced, well drilled. Then, which mistakes should be corrected? Which mistakes should be corrected? So partly we have already touched upon this, have talked partly about this, but now I would like you to present a more specific answer. Any ideas from you? Ina?
We were talking about the errors, sleeps, and attempts. If talk about this one, I guess we do not need to correct sleeps because mostly students can do that themselves. But if we talk about the errors, it's better to lead them to correcting themselves or just try to use a peer correction or tell the
answer. So in this way, in this case, we need to correct them. And if talk about the attempt, I'm not sure, but I guess if it's like the beginner or intermediate level, we do not need to correct everything, especially attempts.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks a lot for such an extended answer, yeah, and profound insight into that. So here I will just add that, yeah, much depends on what categories of learners we are talking about. If it's just the case that I provided you with at the very beginning of the class, when I said that what if our student tries to say something in passive voice without fully understanding like how it should be done in English, because he is just a fifth grader and the topic is like studied at the eighth form. One thing, yeah? That's why, depending on how eager the person is willing to know that, you may either say, no wonder, so just relax, that's what you will learn much later, or you can suggest an alternative example, because the learner, if he wants to say something, he will not be satisfied with your answer that it will be learned later. You should suggest at least some good alternative for mentioning the same, yeah? So thank you for mentioning that here much should depend on what type of mistake we're talking about, because slips may not be corrected by the teacher. That's what will be done by the student himself or herself. Errors should definitely be corrected, because if you as a teacher presented a particular topic and you still see that the students struggle with this topic, then so you need to correct that. And if these are attempts, then I've already told you what can be done. Besides, much depends also on whether it's the mistake that impedes understanding, general understanding. In this case, unfortunately, the teacher will have to interrupt the student even in the course of his speech, just to make it clear for the rest, those who are listening to this person, of like what he is talking about. In all the other cases, when we are talking about fluency, yeah, kind of like fluency tasks, then the teacher is better like take notes of what is said so that he could reflect on that, then sum up and correct the mistakes later. And a great idea is that not all the mistakes should be corrected. Of course, if we are not talking about the mistakes in accuracy, because if we are drilling a particular phenomenon, so if these are some grammar structures, then so the students should be well aware of how to say it. Here it's allowed to interrupt the student even in the course of speaking, because that's what is required, yeah, because otherwise the students will remember the incorrect variant and will not get rid of these permanent fixtures in their speech. And the last one, who should do the correcting? Who should do the correcting? Yeah, Olena?
In our breakout room, we decided that it should be a mix of teacher correction, self-correction, and if we are talking about groups of learners, peer correction too.
Okay, so should we give preference to one of these types of correction? To any of these types?
Maybe self-correction. I think that self-correction and teacher correction should like prefer because when we're talking about peer correction, sometimes anyway, teacher should monitor it and check if they tell really correct answers. So maybe these both.
Yeah. So when we are talking about advanced learners, then perhaps peer correction as well as self-correction should prevail, just because at this particular stage in their development, the students can do that. But when we are talking about beginners, of course, so that's the teacher who does most of the correction work. Okay, so thank you. So that was great. So we had a hot discussion in our breakout room, and I'm well aware that you had the same in your breakouts. and thanks to these replies that you provided in plenary, I see that you are more or less aware, yeah, of the topic. So as it has been already studied, and so you know a lot. Now I would like to do the following task. So we discussed the types, we already discussed the types of mistakes, and currently I would like also to talk about the categories of mistakes. They are grammatical, lexical, pragmatic, phonological, spelling. There can be stylistic mistakes as well. In some literature you will come across phonetic mistakes, though some other authors kind of unite them under the heading of phonological mistakes. Okay, and right now let us do the following thing. I've prepared the sentences that I personally have come across while dealing with my students, or these are just the sentences that contain the most typical mistakes of that the students make. I would like now to distribute them into these categories. Yeah, mind please that in each or under each heading we should have 4 sentences. That will be my small hint to you. Just now, currently, so look through these sentences, and the very moment when you see that you are well aware that that one of the sentences should go under a particular heading, let me know. Mm-hmm. So,
grammar mistakes.
okay. So, you can start with any column. So, Darina, would you like to start with grammatical mistakes?
Yeah, I can try. They are good friends. It should be they are good friends.
They are good friends. It can go under the heading of grammatical mistakes, but the main problem here is with what?
With missed auxiliary verb.
So actually, try to pronounce it. They are good friends.
Yeah, phonological maybe.
The pronunciation is almost the same.
Spelling. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
definitely. Then, Halina,
So grammatical mistakes. Do you can swim?
do you can swim? By the way, so I myself have been in this situation when the beginner students made these mistakes. Yeah, so it's quite funny for those whose level is advanced, but so it's kind of transitional language, and no wonder that learners can make these mistakes. Then, you can start from any sentence you wish, belonging to any category you wish.
I am agree with you.
I agree with you, yeah. So a mistake that is quite favored by one of my students. So his fluency is perfect, but whenever he comments on something I ask him about, it's a boy. So he always say, I agree with you. Definitely. So that's a grammatical mistake. Then, Helena?
I did a lot of mistakes. Lexical mistake, because it should be I made a lot of mistakes.
I did. Okay, yeah, because I made there is a wrong collocation. Afruza?
I know about him. It is spelling mistake.
Spelling mistake because there should be no with K-N-O-W. Tatiana?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have he said he is tired, like reported speech we need, like he was tired.
He was tired. Yeah, sequence of tenses. Thanks a lot. And so there are two more people who raised their hands. Okay, let me see. Lerочка, Lera.
Like the dessert should be, but desert looks delicious, so phonological, yeah.
Phonological, definitely, yeah. So that dessert, we're talking about sweet course. And desert, it's like what Sting is singing about. The desert rose, LA, LA. Yeah, you remember this song. So that's how I recommend it to all my students to check the pronunciation of these words. Then, Tatiana Osipkivska.
Okay, so we have, I didn't say he stole the money.
Okay, I didn't say. He stole the money. What's all this stuff about?
Maybe is it a pragmatic mistake?
Pragmatic. So actually, money is deliberately like capitalized here or given like in capital letters, just because we just stress this word. I didn't say he stole the money, though in fact we're supposed to say I didn't say he stole the money. It's about
No, spelling.
Phonological. So if talking about spelling, everything is correct here. But depending on what word will be given more stress, yeah, there will be like a kind of problem. We are talking about the person who stole the money, not about the money stolen. Так, Lera.
Our accommodation was rather cheaper, spelling.
Our accommodation was rather cheap, definitely. So it's about spelling. Afruza.
We'd like to stay in this hotel. This is a phonological mistake.
Okay, so because it should be pronounced like in this
Hotel.
hotel. Not hotel. Then Sergey.
Can I borrow your pen for a second, please? I think this is a pragmatic mistake.
Yeah, what should be said instead?
Yeah, the other person should probably say, here you are, or here you go.
Here you are, definitely not please, because it sounds too much Ukrainian. Then Halina.
He thinks she's won one medal, so it's phonological. It should be he thinks.
Thinks, not sinks. Then Sergey again.
I didn't notice.
So
I still had
the hand raised. So
okay,
I
but I have one for sure. Yeah, we should defend the environment is a lexical mistake because we protect the environment, not defend it.
Yeah, that's the right collocation. Then Halina.
So the amount of people in the room was large. It should be the number of people, and it's lexical.
Lexical mistake because the wrong word is chosen. So it's countable noun. That's why we should use the number of people, not the amount. Amount goes with liquids or uncountable nouns. Afruza.
I want to ask you for assistance. It is lexical mistake.
What improvement would you suggest here instead of I want?
I would suggest I
I'd
want to ask you. Oh yeah, I'd like your help.
That's why it's more a pragmatic mistake, yeah? Because so pragmatic mistake deals with the level of formality. For example, whether a particular sentence will be to the point or not to the point under the context, yeah? So, and I want to ask you sounds as if you are kind of Tsar, for example, or just Sultan who gives orders. No, so I'd like to. That would sound more polite. So pragmatic is about being more polite, formal or vice versa, informal in a particular context. Then Vera.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He received a lot of money for the work done, spelling.
Received a lot of money. Yeah, so here we have like the problem with the spelling because like the here we have IE, yeah, so like we changed the order of these letters in the word. Then the next one, in our country exist many problems. From the point of view of a Ukrainian, sounds pretty much okay. But in fact, that's not how it should sound in British version. Lera?
Maybe grammatical.
Yeah, that's the problem with the word order. A lot of problems exist in our country, or there are a lot of problems in our country. The teacher was sensible to our needs.
Sensitive, maybe?
Sensitive, definitely. Yeah. So it's about lexical mistake. Then, do you still need my help? No, it doesn't matter. It's about, by default, it's a pragmatic mistake. Can you change this sentence, second sentence, so that it could sound correct?
Maybe I'm fine.
So do you still need my help? So no, thank you. I'm done.
No, thank you.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, but a nice suggestion so was made by you. And the last one, hey there, I need that file. So can you just come up to someone and say, hey there, I need that file, or I need your file. So sounds as if you were a gypsy. So I'm not a racist, but sometimes that's what that's the way they behave. Yeah, we should be more polite. And what should be said instead? I'm sorry, yeah? Could you please share this file? Or may I take, yeah? Or will you be so kind as to give me that file? Yeah, so pragmatic mistakes, yeah, that's the area that the students are kind of unaware of. They easily, like you, recognize where lexical mistakes are because you are advanced learners and you are well aware what collocation should be chosen, what word should be chosen. So you are definitely well aware of grammatical mistakes, phonological, spelling, but when it comes to pragmatic mistakes, you do feel that there is something wrong, but so you may not always identify the mistake. Yeah, thank you for the task done. Sorry. Once again, I will have to zoom it in, but this time for another thing. So now when we've noticed so many mistakes in the sentences, and believe me, they're quite typical, a lot of students make them. Can you please specify what were the reasons behind these mistakes? What caused these mistakes? What were the reasons behind? Like, I agree with you. I told you that it's a constant mistake, permanent mistake, that a student of mine makes. And he somehow cannot get rid of it. Why does it happen, Sergey?
I think this is L1 impact. That is,
Let us translate that into Ukrainian, because like usually when we say that it's an L1 impact, there should be a similar sentence in Ukrainian. Я є погоджуюсь з тобою. Do we say it like this?
I think я згоден. I am. There is a state.
Я є
It is implied.
Kind of, but I believe that
Я задоволений. I am satisfied. Я щасливий. I am happy. Я згоден. I am agree.
I am agree. Like you treat agree as a like participle.
That Ukrainian is missing that part.
So
altogether.
Maybe for some of the students that sounds like L1 interference, yeah, because you associate agree or just place it in the same category, like in case with all the participle to verbs. But here it's not a participle to, it's just the infinitive, bare infinitive, agree. I am agree. So it's definitely a fossilized error. Quite a lot of students make the same mistake. So by adding m in all those places where it's absolutely not needed, yeah? That's why whenever our students make mistakes, we cannot but, as teachers, analyze what caused these errors, yeah? It can be a fossilized error like I am agree. I have, we say, just the money are in my pocket, though there should be money is, yeah? Or furniture are. though, because in Ukrainian we have something of the kind. Furniture is, there should be furniture is. Yeah, so fossilized error, that's one problem. Then developmental error, it's when we are just beginners and we are practicing using something. Yeah, we are doing some initial steps in that sphere, and that's why we're making mistakes. Then, in case if it's just a developmental error, we will get rid of it soon. So it will just take time and efforts on behalf of both the teacher and the learner. Then, so what can be some other reasons? Please recollect, you do know a lot. L1 interference, he has mentioned that, yeah, L1 interference. And two more. There are two more reasons. These can be, someone is texting, it seems to me. Just let me check. Oh, no. Like you have an alert. Okay, Anastasia. So yeah, be in safety, stay safe. Yeah, one more reason is overgeneralization. When you know the rule, for example, the plural of the nouns is formed with the help of S. But in case if you apply it to more situations when needed, like instead of saying child, children, you say child, childs, just because you think that it should sound that way. It's overgeneralization. And there can be a case with mislearning, when either a teacher did not present you like with all the cases and with all the exceptions of the rule and you were not aware of it, or you kind of like remembered the rule in the wrong way because like you got distracted at the moment when the rule was explained to you and you learned it with some mistakes. So these are some reasons that can lead to the mistakes. And of course, like we cannot but mention that there can be the situations where the student makes the mistake because of being tired, because of being hungry, because of being sleepy, when you concentrate on the meaning rather than on form. Okay, so whenever it comes to correcting the mistakes, now when we know the reasons, the types, the categories of mistakes, it's high time for us as the teachers to start correcting these mistakes. And so we should do that properly. We should do that so that not to traumatize our students. Yeah, we should be quite sensitive to the needs of our students. And here the time comes for us to be able to talk about different techniques that can be applied by the teacher when it comes to dealing with mistakes in speaking, because mistakes in writing will be corrected a bit differently. Currently, we will talk about the correction in speaking. And here come 7 examples of 7 different types of correction techniques. They are elicitation, explicit correction, repetition, recast or recasting. Sometimes it's also called parroting. You know what the parrot does, yeah, keeps on mocking at you and repeating your words. Metalinguistic clues, using symbols or gestures, clarification request. And here I've provided you with a particular explanation as well as practical examples of of these different types of correction techniques. Now I will assign you some time. We won't do that in breakouts. You will work individually. I will give you like 2 minutes for getting, for familiarizing yourself with these situations. And I will ask you to leave in the chat area the answers, the keys. For example, 1, B, 2, C, 3, D, whatever. So that we could start analyzing these situations and these correction techniques together. Okay, do it, please. You are done, Sergey?
Uh,
Yeah.
No, I actually wanted to ask you to move number 7 a little bit to the left, to the right.
What
Yeah.
if we leave it here? Will you see it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for indicating that there is a problem. Mhm. Mhm. It's high time for us to start checking. So, did you have enough time for getting acquainted? Did you manage to read all these, like,
Just 1
techniques?
second.
1 second, okay. Yeah, I'll give you a bit more time. Mhm. Yeah, we already have the answers from Olena. Okay. Half a minute more for some other answers to appear in chat. Mhm. Lera. Mhm. We have 2 ladies who are done with that. By the way, this task, yeah, so that deals with error correction techniques in speaking, that's one of the core things you need to know for doing CELTA. Because you as a teacher will be asked to always provide the language feedback. Then you'll be asked also to correct the learner's mistakes, and you should be in the know how to do that and how to deal with that. Yeah, we have 4 people done with that, and let us start checking. The first one, the teacher directly elicits the correct form from the learner. Yeah, and here we got off the car, went away. How do we say it in English? What do we do with the car? We get, and we kind of elicit it from the learner. That's why it deals with the, tell me please, it's elicitation. Yeah, elicitation, you keep mom. So it's A. That's why there should be 1 A. Then, number 2, the teacher repeats the learner's mistake with an intonation aimed at attracting their attention. Actually, the student makes a mistake, it throws a lot of problems. The teacher kind of like repeats. Okay, so you have to D, all of you be explicit. The teacher repeats. That's why it goes about repetition. The teacher like repeats the same mistake. without adding anything, without changing anything, without indicating that there was a mistake. Just by the way the sentence is pronounced rose a lot of problems. The student understands that there is a problem somewhere. Yeah, there should be to see, right? You are. Then number 3, the teacher uses fingers, shapes, ink of different color to help learners correct their mistakes. If I had a chance, I would go. If I had a chance, I would go. And the teacher draws 2 in the air. Most of you have mentioned 3F, 3D, 3F. What should it be? Using symbols or gestures. It's about F. 3F. Okay, let me leave comments for you not to forget. There will be 1A, so 2C, then 3F. Yeah. Let's move to the next item. Using phrases like, excuse me, I don't understand, the teacher underlines that he hasn't understood the student's utterance. So it's required to reformulate or change something in the sentence. The student says they decided to call on their business trip to Norway, and the teacher says, pardon? Or kind of like, excuse me. So it deals with what? You have 4G, 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 4G. All of you think that it's 4G clarification request. Yeah. So we ask for the clarification. You're absolutely right. And here we have 4G. Then number 5, without directly indicating that the learner made a mistake, the teacher implicitly reformulates the learner's sentence or provides the correction. So the student says, I made a lot of work about the house. The teacher actually corrects the mistake himself, but does not say, oh, it's a bad thing about you, you made a mistake, so that the student would not feel demotivated. The teacher says, you did a lot of work, I see. What do you have here? 5, it's missing. 5C, 5B. No, it cannot be. B was not yet mentioned. So C, again C. Actually, C has already been used. Okay, what's this? The question arises. When the
Maybe recast and parroting.
It's 5D, recasting or parroting. Yeah, the teacher does repeat the sentence, but provides the already paraphrased and correct variant. So will it sound humiliating or demotivating for the learner when the teacher says it this way?
No.
No, because the teacher did not say anything like, so how could you not know that? Why did you make this mistake? Oh, you were supposed to know it, yeah? No, there is nothing humiliating about this. Then, clearly indicating that the learner's utterance was erroneous, the teacher provides the correct form. The student says, would you mind opening the window? And the teacher says, do you mind opening the window? That's what we should say. That deals with 6B. That's about explicit correction, right? You are, because the teacher does it explicitly, openly, showing that there was a mistake and calling it as a mistake. And the final one, without explicitly providing correct form, the teacher gives comments like CCQs, requiring yes or no answers. My father says there are a lot of deers in our forest. So deer, we're talking about the this forest animal, and you know that the plural of deer will be deer as well. That's why the teacher says, do we say it like that? Can deer be plural? That's why it goes about, 7, you have E. Yeah, it's about 7E, meta-linguistic clues, so 7E. Thanks a lot. Here comes a question. Here comes a question. Is there any difference between these meta-linguistic clues, because here we have questions from teacher, as well as in case with elicitation, we have questions as well. Then the question arises, what makes these questions different? Here we have yes-no answers. Do we say it like that? No. Can deer be plural? No. So does the deer belong to exceptions? Yes. Should the plural of deer be deer? Yes. Yeah, these are meta-linguistic clues. In case with elicitation, we do not provide the questions that presuppose being answered by yes or no. We just need here to elicit that from the students. They should kind of rack their brains and come up with an idea of what should be said and so how to correct the mistake made. Besides, I believe that you understand now the difference between explicit correction, yeah, like in case when in front of a student there was a mistake. Because so here, like in cases with number 5, for example, yeah, the teacher like corrects the mistake himself, but does not humiliate the student by saying, "Oh, there was a mistake here." Nothing of the kind is done. So the teacher himself just paraphrases it, changes it, presents the correct variant, and that's it. Okay. So thank you for dealing with that. And now we will also proceed to the correction in writing. Whenever it comes, so when it comes to correction in writing, usually most of the teachers, especially when they deal with advanced learners, use the symbols that indicate the nature of the error or the category of the error. For example, WF stands for on form, WW for on word, T for on tense. So this kind of roof sign indicates that something is missing. Then we have spelling mistake, wrong word order, wrong pronunciation, verb form, wrong article, or there is vice versa, some extra word that is not needed. But besides this, some other ideas are applied by the teacher when he deals with correction in writing. And so I've presented some of the techniques that might be used by the teachers. Now I'd like you to familiarize yourself with this and decide which of these techniques will be applicable to intermediate learners, or in other words, beginners, and which of them will deal perfectly well with upper intermediate or advanced learners. Okay, for us not to waste our time, so let us read each line by line, and so present comments. So use different colors to underline mistakes and examples of appropriate language. When can it be applicable? When we deal with beginners or advanced learners?
Beginners.
So yeah, because for advanced learners, that's not needed, yeah? For beginners, so that will be a beneficial idea, a useful idea, because so by remembering different colors, they will kind differentiate between the types of mistakes. Correct errors by writing the correct forms in their place. So you kind of like cross everything and write the correct form above.
Beginners.
Beginners, definitely. So will it be applicable to advanced learners? Is it a good idea to correct everything by crossing and just writing everything?
It won't be effective.
No, because so it does not evoke their thinking, yeah? Then use codes in the margin to identify the type of errors. Margin, yeah? Margin, like to the side. Advanced learners, definitely. Because beginners, unfortunately, will not be able to remember all these codes, but it will work perfectly well and will be beneficial for advanced learners. Put crosses in the margin for the number of errors in each line. For example, 1 cross means so that there is 1 mistake, 2 crosses, that there are 2 mistakes, 3 crosses, 3 mistakes in one and the same line.
Also upper intermediate or advanced.
Advanced, or maybe it will be even a funny thing to do at all, yeah? Then put learners in pairs or in groups when they correct each other's work using, one or more of the techniques above. That's a misprint of mine. Using one or more of the techniques above.
Advanced?
It might be also with maybe not beginners, but elementary.
Will not be able to. it will work with intermediate learners, but definitely not with beginners. And the last one, collect some common mistakes, write them up on the board, and discuss with the whole class. Write some common mistakes. What?
Beginners, maybe.
Beginners depends on the nature of the error. It can work, but in case if you do not overload your beginner students with, but in most of the cases for saving time, yeah, or with the purpose of saving time, the teacher takes notes on the blackboard of the most common mistakes so he could save time on explaining to each and every mistake was made. Okay, so thanks a lot. And whenever we're talking about error correction, so I cannot but mention, you definitely know that there are different types of feedbacks, yeah? So could I please elicit that from you? What types of feedback do you remember? So it can be positive or negative. It can be, for example, constructive or the opposite, destructive. It can be too general or it can be specific. Yeah, but like whatever feedback you are going to apply, remember that it should never be negative, it should never be destructive, and it should never be demotivating. It should be always constructive. So it means that it should contain the information based on what was done properly, what was wrong, why it was wrong, and how to improve. That's why start with something positive, then indicate what was wrong without criticizing a student too much. So it doesn't mean that you should always praise your students. Far from it. A mild criticism should be present. And you should also tell the students how to improve, because whenever, for example, you start criticizing something, suggest the areas for improvement. And finish on a positive note, because according to the psychological peculiarities of our students, I should mention that we always remember something we start even our school year with, or the words the teacher start the explanation with, as well as we always remember this final part of the lesson, of the comments, teacher's comments, whatever. So now you have a great chance in breakout rooms, being assigned in breakout rooms, to improve on the feedback. So here comes the situation. That happened between a teacher and a student. So the student, Kate by name, is on her school internship, and she's conducting her classes. Here comes the conversation between the teacher and the student. So the teacher says, "So Kate, how did you feel your lesson went?" Kate says, "I think it was fine. The pupils seemed to enjoy it." Sorry, but I don't agree. The activities were not to the point. The pupils didn't understand what to do, and I've told you about your instructions before. You really need to do better next time. So in breakouts, act as teachers. Think of what went wrong in this teacher's feedback. Think also of the language that you would apply commenting on the student's work, on the student's lesson, and suggest the areas for improvement. Okay, so 5 minutes, you will be allotted 5 minutes, and in breakouts, so come up with the suggestions for improvement. Okay.
Vanina, could you please unmute yourself?
Sorry, there were some problems with my internet connection, but now I'm back. And I believe that all of you, those who were working in breakouts, are back again as well. Let me share the screen again. And so I'd like to elicit how you elicit that from you, how you improved this feedback provided by the teacher. Okay, any suggestions, Alina?
So in our group, we all agreed on the fact that this feedback is too negative. And first of all, we shouldn't use this negative language like I don't agree, pupils didn't understand. And at the very beginning, we should praise the student for a good job and for some positive aspects of the lesson. So we can start the answer from, yeah, I agree that the lesson was quite good and pupils enjoyed certain activities. However, I can suggest some little improvements, and then we can mention some like aspects that should be improved. And another important fact is connected with the last sentence, where we have the sentence, you really need to do better next time, but we don't have any suggestions how to do it. So the teacher should provide the student with a certain piece of advice on how to improve the lesson or certain activities.
Definitely. So he's too critical. That's why so he turned this feedback from constructive into a destructive one. So I will give you a small hint. So you already know that we should start and finish our feedback for it to be constructive with something positive. And besides, do not, like if talking about that stuff inside or the criticism inside, do not talk about so many critical issues. Pick up one that you consider to be, that is from your point of view as the teacher, was the worst one. Kind of come up with a solution for it, but do not call it the worst thing. Just remember it for yourself, that it was something that you should definitely help or assist your student with. That's why. So I like the suggestion as to how to start this commenting, yeah, or this feedback. You said, oh, I like that you you fully enjoyed that lesson. It just shows that you're on the right road, for example. And there were a lot of activities that your learners truly liked because they were quite enthusiastic dealing with them. Still, I believe that they did not fully understand all the instructions. So next time, make them clearer and more specific. So for this, you can ask some instruction checking questions from your students so that you could be well aware as a teacher that they understand it, that they have understood them well. But I cannot but mention that I truly liked the rapport established in the classroom. Everyone felt relaxed and quite positive, and they were not scared dealing with the task. Yeah, or like doing with the task. That's one of the ways on how to improve, though there can be, of course, a lot more. Yeah, so when it comes to providing a feedback, as far as you understood, it can deal either with just teachers' comments, just with comments, kind of verbal comments in most of the cases, or it can presuppose also putting the marks, for example. Yeah, and so gradually we are moving from error correction to assessment. Here in the slide of mine, I've presented the pictures that correlate with different types of assessment. I do understand that you know a lot about these types. That's why I believe that now I can just elicit that from you. So can you come up with ideas of what types of assessment are illustrated in this picture or on this slide? What are they? Each picture stands for some type of assessment. For example, this one.
Peer assessment.
Peer assessment, yeah. So what is good, what is bad about it? A few ideas from you? So peer assessment. What does it enable?
Students are not afraid of hearing some mistakes from their peers, yeah, and they are not so how to say,
Scared, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, so they are not scared.
And it develops or fosters collaboration between them, yeah, because like the more ideas, the more other people who are involved in the process of correcting and assessing, the more ideas there can come from these peers of yours. But the problem here is that for example, sometimes the students may get easily offended by the marks put by their peers. Especially it happens between friends, or between those who are sharing the same desk, who are sitting next to each other. So they stop talking. There were cases when they stopped talking to each other because they said, I thought that you are my true friend. You could pretend that you didn't see that mistake. What for did you correct that? Yeah. So it happens. That's why it's a great idea in case if you suggest as a teacher using this peer assessment in the classroom, that you kind of do not show whom these works belong to, then it will be more objective. Then this type of assessment, what's it? We are kind of tasting the soup in the process of cooking it. What type of assessment is this? Formative assessment, definitely. Will it be possible to change something? For example, you've got like 9 out of 12. So can you change something about your mark if we're talking about formative assessment?
Being an assessment done in the progress of a module, I understand, yeah, before the end of a period or end of a certain unit or topic, we can focus on areas where students need improvement.
Yeah, definitely. So the mark is not final here, yeah? That's why, so you may get as many marks as possible. It's not the end of the semester, it's not the end of the year, not the end even of the module. That's why, so all these marks will be summed up, and the final mark you'll get maybe totally different or absolutely different just from what you've have got today. Yeah, formative assessment. It's called formative because judging by the root of the word form, it helps us to form, shape our knowledge, mold who we are. Yeah. So, and it's never final because it never goes about the final mark. No, that's continuous and it's done on a regular basis. This one, it's kind of opposite to formative. What do we call it? It's summative assessment because we've already cooked something, yeah? And so we are treating a child or our learner, yeah, metaphorically, I'm speaking now metaphorically, we are treating our learner to eat. So unfortunately, nothing can be done, nothing can be changed about it. The food is already cooked as well as the mark is already put. So, and it's a final mark, yeah? So it's about summative assessment. Again, judging by the root, sum, yeah? So the word sum indicates that it's a final mark. And you cannot change anything about it. Here in this picture, I got it. I mostly get it. I sort of get it. I don't get it. That's the questionnaire that is offered to the student so that he could decide on how he would assess himself. So what type of assessment is this?
It's obviously self-assessment.
Self-assessment, definitely. Thank you, Sergey. Then, and here come the examples with A plus, or there can be 100, or just the words like lovely, awesome, how cute, fabulous, marvelous, brilliant. These are 2 types of assessment that are known as informal and formal types of assessment, informal and formal. Formal, so is a part of the state assessment. Yeah, it presupposes putting the marks, though informal assessment is always about giving the praising words so that you could praise your students for the work done. And the final one, so the most traditional one with the teacher, so like keeping that stick in her hands. So it's the teacher, it's up to her what mark to put to the students. So it's teacher assessment. Yeah, teacher assessment. Okay, out of all those type of assessments suggested on my slide, which of them do you think you will apply while dealing with your students doing your CELTA course? What types of assessment will prevail in your work with your students in CELTA course? Are you going to put some final marks? Are your students going to take exams? So I don't know why you are keeping mum. Maybe you are scared. No. So mostly you will deal with so informal type of assessment. There will be teacher assessment, as you will be responsible for this error correction and assessment. Some sort of peer correction when we deal with advanced learners, and so also self-assessment, because you will offer them some exit tickets, and formative assessment. So okay. Now I would like also to draw your attention to some characteristics of formal and informal assessment. Remember that formal so is usually about putting marks. Informal is more verbal, more about providing comments. That's why formal assessment presupposes providing the students with a graded feedback. It's planned in advance. You just plan what kind of activities you will give so that on the basis of it, you could put the mark. It deals with standardized tests, final exams, portfolios, and projects, and it's data-driven because it relies on some statistic data, like on, for example, the number of correct and incorrect answers. Informal assessment is spontaneous. You may never know when and where you will just praise your students. Yeah, so what will be the activity in which they will show the brilliant work. So it's spontaneous, it's content-driven or based on the content done, occurs during instruction, and examples of it include teacher observations, exit tickets, and questions. In other words, all those types of assessment that I've enumerated can go into three categories. That can be assessment for learning. Then, for example, we gather the information about the students, about what they know, what they don't, what they lack, so that we as teachers know how to help them improve, yeah, how to change maybe our instructions, how to change the activities that we apply in the classroom so that we could shape their knowledge and equip them with necessary knowledge. There can be assessment as learning. For example, peer assessment and self-assessment is used as the tool, that is treated as a kind of assessment as learning. While dealing with some tasks, while checking someone's works, they are learning as well. So it's assessment as learning. And there can be also assessment of learning, when you've done your job and you as a teacher would like to be in the know of what is the evidence of their learning. So to say, you suggest writing some task, some test, whatever, so that by putting the mark to your students, you could get that evidence on how well you worked and how diligent they were in dealing with the material. So there can be different test formats. Like multiple choice, true, false, yes, no questions, open-ended questions, closed tests, paraphrasing, matching, summarizing, completing, gap filling, note-taking, role play, simulation, essays, presentations, translation. And so so the list is not even exhaustive. It's up to you as for the teacher to decide what test format to choose. Jeremy Harmer also says that whenever it comes to test formats, we should remember that they are usually of two big types or groups. Direct, that are used for checking the development of our skills, as well as indirect, that are used for checking the knowledge of language systems. Okay, have a quick look at this list. Actually, these two lists. And tell me, please, which test formats would you call direct ones? Which of them will be applicable to checking, for example, speaking as a skill?
Summarizing.
Summarizing.
Open-ended questions.
Can be.
Or oral presentation.
Oral presentation, for sure. And
Role play.
essay.
Role play.
Role playing, yeah. And simulation in case if it's treated as a kind of role playing, because in some sources they are presented in slash, definitely, yeah. Because the rest, with the help of the rest test formats, we are checking rather the knowledge of language systems. In case with direct tests that you've enumerated now, we are checking how well developed the skills are. Thanks a lot. And so my students are in the know of like this, at least this first one of these sites. That's rubystarforteachers.org. So we worked with that, and they even created their own criteria. But for the rest, so because most of you present here are not in the know how it works, so I will leave these actually this presentation. Yeah, so you will look through that. You'll be able to look through that, and so like pick up that site for yourselves. So what you need to do is just to insert Ruby Star for Teachers, even without this .org, in our search bar. Then click on the very first site that appears here, and you'll be redirected to the site itself. And I will just show you how it works. What for is it needed? In fact, whenever it comes to assessment, for you as teachers not to be accused of being subjective or of having teachers' pets, you need to have some criteria so that by analyzing which you could be well aware that a particular student deserves a particular mark. And so if talking about this criteria, sometimes it becomes a nightmare for most of the teachers, because they definitely don't know what criteria to include, where to take them from. Moreover, why for the same criterion Petya gets, for example, 12 or should get 12, and Ivanka gets, let it be 4. Yeah, so for this you will need not only to design the criteria, but also think of the descriptors inside each criterion that will state how many points a particular student will get. I do not say that I do not claim that rubystarforteachers.org is a panacea from all the diseases. Far from that. But at least, so it does contain a number of useful ideas for you to pick up. Whenever we are talking about such tasks as oral projects, or for example, reading tasks, or tasks on writing or product writing, for example, let it be oral projects. So you just click on that. Once again, here it will be much more specific information appears where it's stated for you. Okay, even if it comes to oral projects, what exactly would you like to choose? Class debate, historical role play, interview? Just it suggests some ideas as to what exactly, you are looking for. For example, you as a teacher should be in the know what you are going to assess. Will it be an interview? Will it be a class debate? Will it be a brochure that the students are making? Will it be a poster that you set a task to deal with? Whatever. For example, let it be digital storytelling. Nowadays, quite a lot of students of ours do like to use, and they extensively use different digital tools. So how will you develop that rubric? You will just need to follow all the steps, and to answer all the questions that this particular site will ask you about. So it will ask you about salutation. It's the way you'd like to be addressed. It can be none or can be, for example, Mrs. Your first name. So now it's remembered me just because I've used it for a number of times. But when you happen to work with that for the first time, of course, you will need to type that and then it will remember you. Your last name, for example, Kuzmenko. Here, I will tell you about one thing that you shouldn't forget. You will not move to the next step unless you provide the title for your project. Let it be, for example, food. Just on the spot, I will create some heading. Then it will ask you about your zip code. It shouldn't be the zip code of that region you live in. The zip code for all of you will be the same. It's just a type 5 times like these nines. Will it be a demonstration rubric? It can be yes or no, depends on you. And here comes the time for creating or designing the rubric itself. You will need to choose the criteria. For example, so can be soundtrack, how it shows, whether it shows the emotion, whether it renders the emotion or not. Can be, for example, your point of view or the purpose for which this, let it be, like video or like project was created. Then can be images that you use. This can be voice consistency or conversation style. Just I randomly pick up some criteria so that you, for example, may find useful in analyzing your students' works. And the very moment when I choose the criterion itself, here appear the descriptors that will just clarify what for you are going to put a particular mark. Of course, so maybe you do not quite like these 1, 2, 3, or 4 points, especially like taking into consideration that you are going to assess your students out of 12 or maybe out of 100. That's why usually I tell my students that it would be great, for example, to choose some words or word combinations. This can be above standard or excellent or high. For example, high. Then here, can be meets the requirements or sufficient or good. Let it be like sufficient. Then approaches the standard of average quality or poor. Let it be average. And here we will have, for example, of entry level or below standard level. Yeah, and now like when you keep on like listening to what your students are saying, watching to what the students are presenting, if it's kind of video that they've sent to you. So analyzing like each particular criterion according to the descriptors, you can as a teacher come up with an idea of what mark to put to your students, or at least what level this work belongs to, or like what level the criteria of what level it meets. And here you can submit it. Voila. Here we have a table. Yeah. So currently I have only 4 criteria, but there can be 5 and 6 and 7, as many as you wish. I usually say to my students not to exceed the limits of like 5 or 6, because that's a bit difficult to have so many criteria, but it's up to you and depends on you. Then you can either print it out or download it and use it in the Word document. That's how it works. So the easiest way for you to design the criteria. Or another example that you had on my slide, it's rubricmaker.com. But I believe that it won't be that useful. Though still a lot of teachers use it as well. So when you enter it in a search bar, it will ask you either to sign in or to join. I will try to join because I got registered here still. Okay. Just let me show how it works. Yeah, my rubrics. So in case if you need to design a new rubric, you just click on the button New. Yeah, New. And so it offers you to just choose, for example, some topics or areas. Let it be oral presentation. And subtopic, like you are choosing some subtopics, for example, content. And it asks you how many points you are going to put for it. It's up to you to choose. For example, 12 points for it. Then you can also add some more. Just a moment. Okay. Yeah. No, sorry. That's the way it will look like. Yeah. So after you are done with everything, but so you can also add as many. Just let me check it. Okay, that's here. That's here. Yeah. For example, you need to choose some other criterion on the same topic because like based on one criteria, that's a criterion that's simply impossible to put the marks. For example, so here you will choose another criterion. Okay. Again, it's oral presentation. Just a moment. And the subtopic will be, for example, I'm interested in whether my student stays on the topic. Again, so 12 points for this. And all the descriptors appear. And by like clicking on this plus button, you can add as many criteria as you wish. And after you feel that you are done with everything, you just click on these three dots and you can either print it out, yeah, so or just print screen it. So and here comes your rubric. That's how it works. Now I suggested using at least 2 examples or just 2 sites, rubystarforteachers.org or rubricmaker.com. So just choose whatever you like more and apply it in the classroom. Yeah. So that's how it works. By the way, in case if you're not going just to but if you save it down
Okay, sorry, dear participants. I guess Elena Yurina has some issues. So maybe let's wait for her and she'll come back.
Sorry, my internet today, that's something. Yeah, so I was on the point of saying that we are perfectly done with everything. So thank you for staying with me because I overran my time a bit. But I believe that those tools that I've provided you with were quite useful to all of you. So thank you once again. We will meet each other during the next class of ours. The final one for me to act as a presenter, because there will be, in fact, 2 more classes. And if you allow me, I will take a bit more time for me to share my screen and to show the current situation that we are having with this form that you were asked to fill out. So we have 10 people, not even 8, 10 people in group 1, 8 people here in group 2, 9 in group 3, no one in group 4, 8 people in group 5, and only 3 in group 6. In total, just 38 of you mentioned their names and surnames and reflected that in this table. What about the rest? So there are many more of us, yeah? I actually don't know what to do, because I planned even the previous time during that lesson with Sally to assign the tasks to you. Perhaps that's what I am going to do right now. So let me use this randomizer. So, and now we are talking about the lesson on teaching vocabulary. So let me check what group will get it. Okay. That will be group 5. Yeah, group 5. That's Ладанай Maria, Mostova Valeria. So I will be writing it here for neither you nor me to forget about it. Teaching vocabulary. And I'm going also to send you the tasks and the texts, for example, and as well as the textbooks that you will use for presenting this micro-teaching vocabulary. Okay. Then teaching grammar. Let me check who will get this. Seems to me that there is no one. There are no people in group 7. No people. That's why I will need to do it once again. Group 6. So teaching grammar. That's for you. Then teaching listening. Teaching listening. That won't be for group 6 because group 6 has already got grammar. So the closest will be group 2. Then that will be for you. Teaching listening. Yeah. Then group 3. So teaching speaking. Teaching speaking. Then now teaching reading. Teaching reading. Teaching reading. Yeah. Так, and what is left? Teaching reading, listening, speaking. I'm afraid that we won't be able to take teaching writing, or maybe we will try it. Reading, listening, speaking, vocabulary and grammar. Yeah, so we have no more people for me to assign them with the task, to assign the tasks to them. So group number 1, I believe that at least some representatives of this group are present, are with us. So my recommendation for you will be to give 2 more people to group 6. Yeah, because here we have just 3 and here there are 10 of you. So think it over. So I do not insist, but that would be much better. That would be at least fair. So be responsible for teaching reading. So wait for the textbook from me. I will try to do just send the textbook to all of you, and you'll be responsible for. Group 2, so you are in charge of teaching listening, the same. So I will assign the task and so suggest the task for listening so that you could develop micro-teaching based on this. Group 3, so teaching speaking. Wait for the tasks to be sent. So in case if I do not manage dealing with that today, that will be done by the early morning tomorrow, so that you could have 2 weeks ahead. By the way, those of you who are present, it seems to me that today we have some people who did not mention their names in the or whose names are not in the table. So do that, please. Add yourselves, yeah? Especially so add your names to those groups where we have just 3 or 4 people. Yeah. So the tasks are distributed. The textbooks, like with the indication of what text, what exercises you should base your work on, will be sent to you. Do you have any other questions based on your work? I will also, anticipating your possible question, I will also indicate whether it will be the task for the tasks or the lesson for pre-intermediate or upper intermediate students. So I will tell you all this. That's why 2 types of textbooks will be sent. One for advanced learners, the other one is for beginners. So I will tell all of you like who will be responsible for what. Do you currently have any questions? Yeah, Lera?
I just misunderstand how much time do we have for doing it?
2 weeks. 2 weeks, because you are going to present this micro teaching on the 21st of May. But by that time, at least a day or 2 like before, ahead of time, you will need to like present the framework of your lesson on the platform that I will provide you with, so that I, as a teacher, could look through that before you start presenting that on Wednesday, the 21st. Because in case if any questions from me come, so I will just announce these questions so that you could improve. Halina?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask how are we going to present it? Should it be like an additional presentation and we should like conduct the lesson, or we just show a file with a plan?
Okay, so
And tell about
as I
it.
already mentioned, yeah, thank you for asking. As I already mentioned, so you are going to develop these full lesson of yours, yeah? So just imagine that you are in the shoes of the teacher and you are responsible for this 45-minute lesson. So that's why you need to like come up with all the stages of such a lesson. Be it a lesson, for example, on teaching reading, on teaching speaking, on teaching grammar, whatever. In the classroom here during the session, so you will present just a part of the lesson, that stage or that part that will reflect what you are responsible for. For example, if it's teaching reading, then you will present me with the framework based on lead-in or warming up activity, then the tasks for the first reading, the second reading, follow-up activities, then summing up and whatnot. But so it depends on you which stage of this lesson. Maybe it will be just first reading, or maybe this will be the tasks for second reading, what exactly you'll present in the classroom. But beforehand, before you will start presenting that here in the session, I will need to look through your work, so that, for example, after you present everything in session, I will tell you, okay, so I've got acquainted or familiarized myself with the structure of your whole lesson, yeah, with your lesson procedure, and I have recommendation as to this or that. Or, so I particularly liked the way you presented, for example, this or that. That is how it will work. Yeah, Lera?
Yeah, here it is clear, but how should we like connect with others? Because there are some nicknames in the Telegram and it would be difficult to find our participants, our group mates.
You will need to kind of use our introduction to CELTA chat in Telegram so that, for example, in case if you are, where are you, by the way? You are in group
5.
Group 5, yeah, with Ladana, together with Ladana Maria, Denisenko Anna, Tetarchuk Maria, and whatnot. So just copy it, paste it, for example, in the group chat and say, so ladies, dear ladies, so hello, I'm one of the members of your group. Let us create some group on Viber or, for example, on Telegram so that we could stay in touch. And you can either work in Zoom, just gather together in Zoom, like on your own, or you can do the bits of work, each of you. So it should be kind of collective work, but you should also appoint the delegate who will present everything in the classroom, because not all of you will be able to just to talk. There can be just one or two of you who will be talking. The rest will participate in working out on the lesson procedure. So creating this PPT presentation, or any other, for example, they will be looking for some sites so that they could be applicable and used in the classroom, whatever. So it should be a collective work of all of you. All of you should participate. Otherwise, you will not get these certificates.
Okay.
Okay, so I believe that 2 weeks, that's pretty enough for you to manage everything. Yeah. Thanks a lot once again. So we are just I'm overrunning the time, so I'll repeat that once again, but at least that's what I was supposed to do, because otherwise I would have to text each of you personally, and that would be even more time consuming. Yeah. So if you wish, you can take a print screen. Yeah. Or I can do that so that you could find yourselves, so your members. That's it. Okay, so thanks again. Our last class, so that will be in a week, will be dedicated to planning, but by that time, try to come up with the ideas on what you would like to do. Some more ideas will be provided by me, so during the session, but I believe that even right now you are well aware of what lesson frameworks to use, because any class we met, any workshop we met, I provided you with all possible lesson frameworks for you to use in the classroom for teaching reading or for teaching writing or whatever. That's why I believe that you are fully aware of what to do and how to deal with that. So thank you once again for staying for so long with me. Bye for now, and hope to see you in high spirits in a week again.
Thank you for the class.
Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Same to
Have a
you.
nice day. Bye.